Without a doubt, the craziest episode of Beastars, period. Without a doubt, the best fight of Beastars, period. And without a doubt, the most speechless I've been watching Beastars, period. To have a fight like Riz versus Legoshi in such a brutal, but I think well animated fashion, where it really feels like this is life or death and only one winner will be able to live. The loser will die, you know what I mean? Is this one of those episodes that at multiple points I gasped out loud saying, did I just see that? That moment where Legoshi jumps on his back and rips his chest apart? I was like, holy shit. This episode had so many emotions, and to see the delusion of Riz, where he is bound and bent that his relationship with Tem was mutual and that Tem wanted him to eat him and that he accepted him and it was this beautiful thing and he doesn't want anyone to tamper with that memory. Where Legoshi and everyone else agrees that no, Tem didn't want you to eat him. At first, when we saw that backstory and it was directed as this very peaceful hug, I was like with Riz, I was like, oh, Tem must have accepted him in that moment. But no, it's crystal clear after this week's episode that that is clearly what he saw from his own perspective, but in reality, Tem was scared ever since he ran off that rooftop and was scared up until his death. The biggest question I've really had was, what was the point of Legoshi not turning him into the authorities and wanting to really attack him himself? And there was the one thing that I was kind of latched onto up until this episode, where this episode adds even more clarification, was the fact that he feels guilty and like he isn't strong enough in order to protect Haru, because in the first episode, we see him almost kill Haru, so he feels like he could easily become Riz, but he also wants to be able to beat someone like Riz, so he knows he has the strength in order to protect someone like Haru and keep her and other herbivores safe. But the other thing that gets brought up in this episode is how he's pretty much going his mentor's route of trying to take them kind of under his wing and fix them rather than just punish them the same way that, he's been doing to where we have last week, right? A girl comes up for her medication and we learn that she killed people before, but she looks like a normal character now. So it's very interesting how they're going this route, which I think could have been very easy for the viewers to unanimously agree that Legoshi not turning him in for some random reason could have been a really missed opportunity. But the idea that he feels like he could become Riz because he almost did that to Haru, the fact that he wants to protect Haru and go up against someone like him, but also just wants to save him before it's too late, and he does even more because he's clearly crazy and is lost in this thought that he and Tem had this beautiful devouring scene when really he needs to accept he was a monster and he has to overcome that and he has to pay for those consequences. I think the whole Pina situation where, he gets shook down was beautiful and terrifying. This playboy, who is usually so cool, calm, and collected, gets so shook down that it felt like we were about to see a death, especially considering that he clearly was trying to, make sure no one would get in his way. And the fact that he actually offered Pina an offer. Make sure Legoshi leaves me alone and I'll leave you alone. I honestly believed him. I don't think he was lying in that situation. He truly feels so delusioned about what happened in the past that he just wants to be able to have these memories of Tem not be tainted, and he probably would let Legoshi and Pina just walk away if they stop bugging him. But the fact that the fact that ever since that night he hasn't been able to taste, so all of his cooking has been very strongly flavored, to the fact that, he's so crazy about what happened. Legoshi versus Riz round 2 is going to be brutal, and I don't know how it's going to go. From the floors being cracked to the eyes and body parts being ripped away, it's how do you go from there? And the fact that there apparently is some way for Legoshi to quickly power up, it has to be some form of drug, right? It has to be some form of Beastars steroids or something, which I wonder if they go that direction, if it would have a side effect. But still, the animation, this is one of the best examples of why Beastars being 3D works so well. The way the camera bounced around and the way they jumped, there was never a sloppy shot in that location. It constantly felt like two giant beasts destroying a location, and every punch and every dramatic close-up where they were kind of in deadlock, where their arms were locked or their fists were locked, it was terrifying. And the way the blood and the directing, there's so many cool shots. The one where Legoshi's eye slowly covers his vision and you just see a silhouette of Riz running towards him, or the numerous other just amazing shots where you're just holy shit, you actually are feeling like you're this character who's wounded in this way. I think Studio Orange and what they've been doing with Beastars is some of the most impressive feats in anime kind of progression that I've seen, and really has become a staple of what I think more anime studios are trying to be when it comes to 3D productions. And to just imagine, like, I don't think there will always be a lot of action in Beastars. There's only ever been select moments of even what you could consider action. But the idea of Beastars' world being as brutal as it is, I'm just trying to imagine that if there's more fights or more pieces that require really complex directing and animation, if we got a season 3, 4, 5, however many it needs to be, right? Imagine what Studio Orange would really be able to do with their technology and their skill set on even more complex fights than what we just saw. And I'm already saying, I don't know how you could improve on perfection like you just delivered with season 2 episode 10, but you know that they could. This was such a visual treat that before I recorded this, I went back and rewatched the episode as soon as it finished. This was such an engaging episode that it literally could have just been Riz versus Legoshi, and I truly think it would have been a perfect episode, because this has been a confrontation we've been fearful of. This is a confrontation that has so much story and build up behind it, so when these characters are lashing out or Legoshi refuses to back down after a janitor's trying to clean the bathroom there, him lashing out saying, I can't let you back down, and challenging him on New Year's, there's so much weight behind those emotions and those punches that it never feels like just two angry animals, a wolf and a bear, going at it. No, it feels like this is something that's life or death, and there's been build-up. And I especially love the Haru content in this episode, where I was a little worried about potentially a love triangle coming back, but the fact that she's legitimately just worried about Louis, because in the world of Beastars, when a herbivore goes missing, it usually only means one thing. She doesn't hate Louis, she doesn't have any romantic feelings for him anymore, but there's nothing about their relationship that makes her hate him. It's just a relationship that ended, and she still cares for him as a person and a friend, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I really liked her saying, I love you to Legoshi, and having that moment before the craziness. It just builds it into this really interestingly, romantically disturbing episode. And holy shit, the final 2 episodes I'm sure are going to be great. Probably next week will be a slower episode, and 12 will probably be where all the chaos finishes up, and who knows what it's going to look like. Honestly, out of every episode I've seen in the Winter 2021 season, this is one of probably the top 5 episodes I've seen. I'm not sure exactly, it's one of those moments where because of how good the season is, you have to take a step back and really analyze everything. But I can safely say, with the amount of emotions I've had, the fact that I needed to watch the episode again as soon as it finished, to me, it's without a doubt in the top 5 episodes of Winter 2021, and without a doubt the best Beastars episode for me. And I am just so excited to see where the next confrontation will go, because I honestly feel like round 2, even if it's only a minute long or less, I think could even top what we just seen here, and that has me excited. Let me know your thoughts and feelings on Beastars down below, and where do you think it's going to go with the final stretch? If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, show your support, and hit that subscribe button if you happy new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.